on. Boom. So welcome to tonight's mindset call, guys. It's entitled Profitable Relationships. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here in Decision December. Decision December is all about making sure that we evaluate, where we currently are, looking to put things in place now that's going to help us drive through the month of December into the month of January with momentum. Someone type in the chat, momentum. And when I was thinking about what's the first thing that we need to think about when it comes to starting off the month of December, the decisions that we need to make, I felt like it was around relationships. And for those of you that know, we studied an audio called From Good to Great. Who was around in that series? You guys remember From Good to Great? And in the audio of From Good to Great, if you have not listened to it, it is a very high level audio around, companies starting a new company or rebuilding or expanding. And it talks about how the question, can you move from good to great? And how, most companies that are good don't shake enough of themselves to become great because they're okay. Have you ever been in a place where you're just good? People say, how are you? I'm good. And because you're good, you don't need to strive for great because you're happy just going around the routine. In fact, what normally happens, you normally go from rock bottom to great, because sometimes it takes for your back to be against the wall. Sometimes it takes for you to be struggling or in a sense of fear of struggle, which I don't know if we're going to get time to go into that tonight, but when you get your back against the wall, that's when you're now open and receptive to do new ideas, and you sometimes go from struggle straight to great. But when you're good, you're not really looking to become great. You're not really looking for things. You're like, I'm all right. I'm actually all right. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Now, we're not here to talk about good to great. It's an audio that I recommend you listen to. It's very high level, but it talks about how going from good to great is potentially even harder than going from rock bottom to great. But one of the things in that audio that stuck with my mind, and if you've listened to it, you're going to remember this part, is when he says, when you're right at the beginning of a new vision, a new story, a new business, a new relationship, a new anything, a new vision, the first thing you want to do is make sure the right people are on the bus, the wrong people are off the bus, and everyone is positioned in the right seat, right? It's so important, because here's what happens normally. Normally, you want to figure out the vision. You got everyone on the bus, and you're sharing the vision with everyone who's on the bus. And then those that don't really understand the vision, they then distract the vision, or they then jump off the vision, off the bus. And then you're now having to realign the vision. Then you're now having to re-pump up the people that are, slowly deflated because of the ones that weren't enthusiastic. And so what the audio says, what Jim Collins says, who is the author, he says, before you even start to think about strategy of the vision, before you start to plan venue, before you start to even plan the destination, before you start to go into the budgets and the resources and the products and the services and all of the intricacies, the first thing you must do is get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus, and make sure everyone is situated in the right seats. Because here's what he says. It says that if the right people are on the bus, it doesn't matter where the bus is going, but because the right people are on the bus, they all understand that collectively we have a vision. And so it doesn't matter if there's a roadblock over here, the bus is going to have to do a little diversion, but we understand where we're going. But if you have the wrong people on the bus, here's what happens. Complaining starts to happen. They start to weigh the bus down. They start to give the driver directions. And all of a sudden you have people fighting, no, I want to stop up here. Can you let me out here? Can you do this? Oh no, can we take a break? I need to go toilet. Can we stop up at there? Can I stop at the baby father's house because I need to collect some child support? Like all of a sudden, we have a whole bunch of confusion because we had the wrong people on the bus in the first place. And so when I started to think, listen, guys, I haven't come here for that. I'm here to tell you about what I've written in my notes. That was a little side bit. But when I started to think about what it was that I needed to kickstart December for us all and why Decision December is important, because I feel like there's a shift taking place right now. I feel like God is ready to align some people. I feel like God is showing some people that there's a new thing about to happen. That maybe you thought that where you are right now is where you're supposed to be. But I feel like God is saying where you are right now is tiny compared to the territory that I'm going to enlarge for you. What was the destination for you last year is actually the seed, is actually tiny. What was the harvest for you last year is the seed in this season. Like you thought that was the destination. Oh, no, that was just the seed. That was just preparing you. That was just a little taster of what it is that he has to do for you. But guess what he has to do? He has to give you the wisdom to align with the right partnerships, the wisdom to align with the right relationships, better relationships, and align you with the right friendships to be able to go to this next level. Someone say next level. Okay, next level. And I tell you this, guys, I went through a season where I was like, and I remember before we changed direction on these Monday mindset calls, and I was just like, yo, God, me. Like have you ever been in a place where you're comfortable, right? And then you get a direction. So there's a word that comes to your mind, and whether you want to say it's God, whether you want to say it's the spirit, whether you want to say it's intuition or a feeling, a gut feeling, it's the same thing. I call it Holy Spirit. And Holy Spirit drops inside you that you need to do this, and you're like, who me? No. You got jokes. Who me? And I went through a who me season. Let's put it that way. I went through a who me season, and you almost start to disqualify yourself. Because let me tell you this, the first relationship that you must get right is the relationship that you have with your creator. The relationship that you have with your creator, because when your creator speaks, you got to be able to recognize the word to be able to move in alignment and in accordance with where he wants you to be. Because a lot of the time we hear the word and we are disobedient to the word because we have that who me moment. Anyone know what I'm talking about? So you have the who me moment, and all of a sudden you're like, who me? And you start to recite your past. How do you start to relate? Yeah, but I'm the one that I'm the divorced one. I'm the one that went through mental health. I'm the one that had, 66K worth of debt back in the days. I'm the one that failed on multiple businesses. I'm the one that, and you start to disqualify yourself in your own mind with your own thoughts, which is the second relationship that you got to get right, is the relationship with yourself. Okay, and how you speak to yourself, how you see yourself. This is why it's so important when we talk about the belief system and the 4 steps to belief. Now, guys, I'm scatting right now. I'm going all over the place. I don't know who needs to hear this, but we're going to summarize this thing, and we got to summarize it real quick, right? But we know that the 4 steps of success, it starts with desire, right? So the desire of your heart is what God is going to bless you with. How does it get into your heart? How is your desire placed inside your heart? Well, guess why? It's based on your senses, what you're exposing yourself to, what you see and what you hear go straight into your heart. And so when we start to disqualify ourselves, we speak out of our mouth these negative words. We look at the things that we don't want to see. So we look at the negative bank account. We look at the old pictures and the old stories. We rehash all these old conversations. Why we have these screenshots in our phone, like we're going to go to the screenshot police, delete the screenshots, delete the pictures. We have no reason to keep hold of the past, because guess what happens, ladies and gents, when we keep rehabbing the past, what happens is the past then becomes the future. And now we wonder why the same things keep happening again, because we keep speaking what it is that we don't want in our life. And so when we get to a place where we start to doubt ourselves, we have to ask ourselves where those things come from. And so I challenge us in this season that we're in now of building the right relationships is to speak what we seek. How many of us have been guilty of saying, oh no, no new friends. Oh no, I don't want anyone around me. I'm not a people's person. Oh, I don't do well in big crowds, and I'm not a public speaker. And I don't, most people don't get on with me because, I'm different. I used to say I'm part of the 5%. So it's going to be harder for me to meet the right people because I'm part of a minority. I'm part of the 5%. No, I had to change my affirmation. I had to start to speak what it is I seek. I will and I do have good quality relationships. The right people are coming into my life. The people that are going to love me are coming into my life. The people that are going to have alignment with vision are coming into my life. The bosses that I know I can connect with are coming into my life. Are we speaking what we're seeking? Or are we speaking, things that's keeping us bondage, things that's keeping us down, right? And so the first step to success, guys, the first basic step is desire, right? We have to have a desire for this stuff. We've got to make sure that when we're opening our mouth, we're making sure that the desire, the things that's getting into our heart is based on what we see, touch, smell, taste, and hear. And so you have a desire for a husband. Do you think, I watched a video the other day, I'm going to share it with you guys. If you have a desire for a husband, you have a desire for a wife, and you sit at home every single day and the only people you see is the Amazon delivery man or the Amazon delivery woman, do you think that you are going to expose yourself? Now, I know that we say that he is abundant, he can work miracles, but girl, you gotta help yourself. You need to put yourself in the right environments. If you want to be successful, you gotta hang out where successful people hang. If you want to be, Angelina said, the Avon lady or the Mary Kay lady that's coming to knock on your door. If you want to be around successful people, you gotta hang where successful people hang out. You got to be intentional. Some of you say, well, I want a man who's earning 6 figures. Where does a man who's earning 6 figures hang out? He ain't going to be knocking on your door as the mailman or the milkman or the postman or the Amazon man. You got to get up, and maybe in the morning time, you hang out in one of the top hotels in Mayfair, or you hang out in Kensington and you sit there. Maybe you can't afford to do the whole 3-course meal, but you buy yourself a drink. Maybe you buy yourself some tea and you sit there and you drink some tea looking pretty, and you may be in an environment where, guess what it is that you are seeking, because it's the desire of your heart. Somebody said to me today, I was speaking to them and I said, what's the desire of your heart? What is it that you want? I want to live, Nikki, I also want to live on the sea. Okay, whereabouts on the sea do you want to live? Actually, there's a place in such and such that I want to live. I said, great. How many bedrooms? Have you been there? What house is it? Well, I have no idea. Well, it can't be the desire of your heart if you don't even see it. You don't even touch it. You don't even have the picture. The desire of my heart is a 6-pack. I see the 6-pack every single day, right? I see it. I see it, I smell it, I can feel it. I get emotional around my 6-pack because I know this is a desire of my heart. Do you see, touch, smell, taste, feel the desires of your heart every single day? Are you printing out the pictures? Have you ordered yourself that trophy? Have you taken a selfie on the road that you want to live? Have you written out affirmations? Guys, every single day I'm writing it down. Every day, you see the date here, that's today. Every day my goal is written down. I am doing this stuff because I need it to get into my heart, because I know that he is going to give me the desires of my heart. And so we wonder why sometimes we feel down and we feel bad. It's because we're focusing on the wrong things. We are speaking and seeking the things that we don't want. We speak about more than the things that we do want. And we've got to get better at speaking, guys. Let me just stick back to my notes because we're going somewhere else. The other 2 steps is obviously skills and faith, right? That's the 3 steps to success, the basics to success. But let me get back to my notes because I'm digressing and we don't have a lot of time on this call, right? So here I am thinking to myself, okay, Nikki, I'm not going to allow these old words to trick me out of my inheritance. I'm not going to allow these old words to stop me from doing what it is that I need to do. Okay, I'm seeing that wedding dress added to vision board. Listen, you got to go. The other day, I was with my girl and we went wedding dress shopping. Does she have a man? No. And she was putting on them wedding dresses like she was getting married. And the lady was like, when is your wedding? She's like, 7 months. Like, she said it all bold. I even thought, like, I was like, hold on. Oh, we manifesting still. Right? You gotta be so bold about what it is that you're doing that even your bestie's like, hold on, when? When's this wedding? How come I ain't been invited to the wedding? She was so bold about it. And so how many of you are so bold about what it is that you want for your life? And are you going and doing what it is that you need? Okay. It's this stuff is so basic, but it's so underestimated because we don't do these things. We just don't do it, guys. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, Nikki, you need to teach on this because you had that moment where you said, who me? And who me moment was in collaboration with some people that I felt were, you know, were heavy hitters. And I was like, who me? Who me? Who me? I'm little old me. I'm supposed to have. And all of a sudden, these words start to come into my mind. I had to start to, you know, I had to start to wrestle with it. And I had to ask myself the question, where did those things come from? Where did those paradigms come from? And you see, when you start to understand that, oh, it's because such and such left you. It's because you had this happen to you. Oh, because they lied on you before, because you know, the pain that you felt when you poured into some people and they went and spread rumors on you, or you went and you connected with people and they stole from you, or you went and they manipulated you, or you went and did this and they did that. And I had to say to myself, stop, because guess what? I had to understand that those things had to happen in order for me to become who he needed me to be. You see, a lot of the time when the who me, what me moment comes, is because we have an ego that we think we're doing it in our own flesh, not understanding that here what, guys? Oh, here it goes, here it goes, here it goes, here it goes. You're asking the question, what am I supposed to do? In this situation, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do this? What am I supposed to do? The question is not what am I supposed to do? The question is, who am I supposed to become? Right? Who am I becoming? Not what am I supposed to do? Because guess what? What you're to do is a byproduct of who you become. Let me just break that down a little bit more. When you become who he calls you to be, you ain't going to be able to help but do the right thing. You ain't going to be able to help to connect with those people. You ain't going to be able to help to have those conversations. When you start to become who you are supposed to be, the confidence that burns on the inside of you, the person that he allowed you to become, guess what? They had to leave you for you to become resilient. They had to cheat on you for you to become strong. They had to lie on you for you to have forgiveness in your heart. They had to steal from you for you to become resourceful. How many of you know that it's because your back was against the wall while you began to get resourceful? All of a sudden, Sabrina, you start to make cakes. You didn't even know where the cake passion came from. But guess what? You became to get resourceful. You started to learn to do hair lace, because all of a sudden, guess what? You had to become resourceful. You see, when you're looking at the situation that didn't happen to you, it happened for you. All of a sudden, you don't seem to have that moment anymore about who me. You start to have the question, God, who do I need to be? Help me to become who you need me to be so that I can go out there and do your work. And so all of a sudden, I had to change the hat, guys. I had to start to build myself back up again. I had to say, listen, there's a grace over my life. Nikki, you better shake up. Nikki, you better wake up. There's a grace over your life. You're not perfect, and he doesn't need you to be perfect, but he's going to help you to shed daily. He's going to help you to connect with the right people. He's going to help you to connect with the individuals that you need to be connected with. You can't say the wrong thing to the right people, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong people. So guess what? When you have a peace that surpasses all understanding, and you understand that here what? I am becoming, I am evolving, I am growing, I am who he says I am. I am who he says I am. Do you know who you serve? Do you know the God that you serve? Do you know the God that you serve? Guys, there's a scripture, I wrote it down in Judges. When God said to Gideon, he said, rise and go down to the camp. And if you are afraid, your hand will be strengthened so you can go down. And Gideon was like, who me? Gideon's like, yo, God, I think you may have got the wrong person. Like, who me? The people are in bondage. The people have been in bondage for so long. You're like, me? You want me to go down and, like, Gideon was, what was he? He was some wheat boy. He used to be working on a farm just cleaning up wheat. He's a wheat boy. He's picking wheat in the farm. And God's telling him that he's about to free nations. Man's looking like, yo, who this guy? And he, you know, God didn't come down himself. He sent the prophet, right? The prophet comes down to tell him. And he's like, huh? Me, let alone me, is here to free what? A nation. You must be kidding. And remember, this is the same nation. Guys, think about it. How many times, because I'm going to free some of you today that keep saying, yeah, but I keep falling short. I keep saying I'm going to do it, then I drop off. I keep having the motivation, then I drop off. What about the people then from Israel? You guys know I like to break down the word in, you know, colloquial terms, okay? So what about the man them, yeah, from Israel? How many times did they bail them out? How many times did they take them out of captivity and they went straight back in? How many times? You read the word. The word is a whole mess, right? You're going to see that one judge comes, frees out the people them of Israel, then the judge dead, then they go back to their old ways again. Then all of a sudden something else happens again. The people them gone back into the what's it? The wilderness again. And then they get bailed out again and they get pushed back into the wilderness again. How many times did they doubt? How many times they have the who me moment? It's almost like every time that they got pulled out of the bondage, they thought like, who me? No, we're supposed to be in the bondage. Let's go back in the bondage. To the point where they actually were freed. Yeah, Brother Moses, 400 years into wilderness, Brother Moses comes now, and Brother Moses like, you know, the so let my people go. And Brother Moses now comes, and then they're running, and they're back up in the Red Sea. And they're back up in the Red Sea, they're probably like, yeah, can you imagine, yeah, you've just escaped. The people that were chasing you behind, you got nowhere to go. And here is the big old bad Red Sea. And you can imagine the people of Israel, back to the who me moment. You can imagine the negative one, the negative, this is why it's important who you're rolling with, the negative one. I knew we were going back into bondage. I knew this was a disaster. Oh, I told you, Florence, we should never have escaped in the first place. This is it now, we're doomed. This is why when you're in trouble, you need to make sure you have the right people around you, because they weren't even expecting the Red Sea to what? You even know, how many times have you been backed up? Listen, they were backed up with the Red Sea. Red Sea backed them up. And how many times have you been backed up against the wall? How many times have you had your back, you know, stretched? How many times have you been in a situation where you thought, that's it now, I'm done. That's it now, I can't. And just like that, Red Sea parted. Red Sea parted. And not only that, as you get through, you turn around and see your enemies dying, Reggie. Yo, I can't do this, cool. You guys need to cover me. You look back here, after all this, you didn't even think you were good enough. You didn't even think you were going to get saved. You didn't think that you were even going to get rescued. And on top of your rescue, you look back and you see your enemies drowning, Tarated. You see them dying, Reggie. And you're like, yo. And after all of that, you still end up in bondage again. You still go back because you don't believe. And so how can all of that happen, guys? All of that happened, and he still didn't give up on the people of Israel. He still didn't give up on them. Because a lot of the time we forget the faithfulness of God of the past. So we start to worry. We start to stress about the future. We start to have fear over the future. Now let me go again, guys, because I'm a scat for you guys now. Because I didn't come here for this, but I'm gonna drop this like it's hot for you guys. I'm gonna help someone today with this one, right? I'm gonna help someone with this today. I'm gonna help you with this one. Yeah, I'm gonna help you with this. I'm gonna help you with this one, guys. Boom. Write this one down. Do you know that whatever you fear, I want you to write this down. Whatever I fear hasn't happened yet. Whatever you fear hasn't happened yet. Let me put it into perspective. Someone comes up to you with a gun. You ain't fearing the gun. You're fearing what's going to happen if they pull the trigger. Right? Whatever you fear, whatever you are fearing has not happened yet. Anything of the past, you can't fear. You may have a regret for it. You may think, oh, I wish that didn't happen. But you can't fear the past. You can only fear something that hasn't happened yet. So what does that mean? It means that fear is created in your mind. So if you can create fear in your mind, you can create faith as well. Because faith, remember, you can't see fear, right? So faith is the substance what? Not seen. Things hoped for, but not seen. So the same way you can create fear, you can actually create faith. So you get to choose how you handle a situation. In fact, when you know what it is that can potentially happen, guess what? You can then choose to make sure that it doesn't happen. You can then choose to put yourself in position to, it's a choice. Faith and fear is a choice. So let's go back to relationship, the relationship that you have with yourself, the relationship that you have with others. We may not be able to get there, but the relationship that you have with yourself when it comes to coming into the new year, decision December. Now, a lot of us make decisions. We either make decisions from a place of fear or we make decisions from a place of faith. So we have to decide, what decisions are we making in this season? When you think about fear, what you're doing is you're actually creating a picture in your mind of something that has not happened yet. That's what fear is. You're creating a picture in your mind of something that hasn't happened yet. So the question is, what are you worried about? Because he's done it before. You were at the Red Sea. You were backed up at the Red Sea. He did it before. Right? We want to make it even lighter. You were, chilling at the party and all the food and drink ran out. But he turned water into wine. Right? So we can have fun with it too, yeah? So your faith can have fun. Your faith can eliminate fear. Your faith can do all sorts. But remember, the basics to success is your desire plus the work times faith. So what, you can have faith in your fears. Now that's going way too deep. That's going way too deep. When you understand that you have 100% success rate, that's why you're here right now. You've survived 100% of the time. Your success rate is 100%. Someone type 100% in the chat. I'm completely out of sync on my notes. I'm just being honest, right? If you have 100% success rate, why are you worried? Why do you fear when your success rate is 100%? Now you have a success rate of 100%. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean that thoughts won't come into your mind. Remember, guys, thoughts and thinking are two different things. You're going to get thousands of thoughts coming into your head every day, but what thoughts you choose to think about is what's going to get into your heart. And what gets into your heart is what then he will then give to you. Remember, he's going to give to you the desire of your heart. Now let's go back to what we were saying before. When you become, because a lot of people look at the success, but they don't talk about who you have to become to get the success that you want. And so let's have a transparent moment. If I'd have met my husband 5 years before I met him, maybe we wouldn't have got married, because I had to become the person that was open and receptive to the person who my husband actually is. You have to become, and before you become, I'll even tell you it this way, before you become, you ain't gonna see the success that you want. Who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to let go? You know, me and my good friend Sherna were having this conversation around relationships, and I was talking to her, you know, around how some relationships, you may meet somebody in one area of life and you think you were meant to meet them for that thing, but actually that thing was just a way of connecting you together, but actually your relationship is deeper than that. And what happens to a lot of people is they only see you for the business that you have. And so when your business with them is no longer, they no longer want to talk to you, or they no longer want to be around you, or they no longer say that they serve you, or they no longer want to love you because you no longer financially benefit them. But actually, a lot of the times, the relationships that we have are not for the purpose of why we think we have them. You may meet somebody I met a girl in a Chinese restaurant 4 years ago, and we just kept friends on Instagram. I met her for the first time last week, and then we were talking and laughing and saying, hey, we met in a Chinese restaurant. We had no idea that we would be friends now, and we will be potentially partnering up in a different business. You see, when you meet somebody, you may think you're meeting them for one reason, but guess what? Let me tell you this. I met a lady in the bank. I met this lady in the bank around 15 years ago, 14 years ago. And this lady came into the bank for me to do a loan for her and to help her with her finances. Little did I know that that woman would give me a book, and that book changed my life. And the information in that book was what enabled me to go and purchase one of my properties. We became best friends. And guess what? There was a time I was in a tight spot years later after I'd left the bank. And she said to me, Nikki, look, here is some money. Here's 10 grand. You go and do what you need to do, and you give it back to me next month. That was a relationship that I had not foreseen. I met her in one vicinity, and now she is like a sister to me, and I don't know what I would do without her. You see how when you meet people, and you know, I'm going to wrap up here because we don't have time to go into this. We'll carry this on next week. You have to understand that there's a divine assignment over every single person's life. And if you ill-treat, this is just word. This is what I believe. Never touch the Lord's anointed. Because if you ill-treat, and if you mistreat, and if you damage or hurt or abuse a vessel, someone that God has designed for a purpose. Now, it doesn't matter if they're not perfect. Let him handle them. You don't administer no justice on them. He will deal with them. But if this is laws, guys. Remember, I taught you about the laws. Last week, we spoke about the laws. 7 laws you must honor to have uncommon success. There's a law of honor. You got to honor. And so when you come into relationship with people, this is why you got to know yourself first of all. You don't get hurt by people not wanting to, you know, co-sign your marriage, or you don't get hurt. You know, when I met my husband, you know how many people was like, that's never going to work. You know how many people started to speak their negativity over our relationship. But you see, when God puts something together, when God says that this, and you know, there's something about his precious pearls, right? And some of you may catch this on the way home, but don't throw your precious pearls to the swine. And there's a lot of people in another season that's going to have the pain and regret. Because I see in this season, some people are repairing relationships now because they realize that there is a, someone in your business, they joined and they were a plumber. And they no longer do business with you. But guess what? One day you need a plumber. But if you treated that person badly, you can't call them now to come and help you with your plumbing. And so that's why we got to love ourselves enough to know that who is for me, and who isn't just isn't. Don't change who you are because of how other people treat you. Don't change who you are based on what other people say and do. Let me tell you this, be authentic, love. You cannot get the success that you desire, whether that be marital, friendship, business, work, promotion. You will not receive the highest of the glory if you do not have love in your heart. And so don't worry, guys. Fear not. Fear not. How many of you right now feel like you're at the Red Sea, waiting for it to be parted? You're like, all right, God, I'm at the Red Sea. I can't even swim. I don't have a life jacket. I am here. Come save me now. Please, Lord, come save me. Take me, Lord. Take me. Hold out. Make a decision in December to hold out, to love yourself, to work on your personal development. Make a decision in December to have good relationships, to have connection. You won't believe how many people overnight. Overnight. I mean, have you ever, like when I left the bank, my work colleagues didn't unfollow me and cuss me out and tell me that they never wanted to talk to me again. I left the bank. I didn't leave them. Have you ever left a place of work and decided never again to speak to some of the work colleagues that maybe you liked? It just doesn't make no sense. Build solid relationships. Love people for who they are. Love people for where they're at. Now, let's be honest. The book also said get the wrong people off the bus. And we're going to talk about this next time around, positive emotions and negative emotions. If you find yourself having negative emotions, you got to trace that back. Who am I around when I get negative emotions? Let me ask you this question. When people connect with you, are they better off after their connection with you, or are they worse off? Because if I'm worse off after the connection with you, you are going to be a blessed subtraction in my life. Right? Blessed transactions, blessed subtractions. Because I need to feel better after our connection. I need to feel more motivated after our connection. I need to feel more excited after our connection. I need to feel like there is purpose after our connection, uplifted after our connection. I don't want to feel like, I don't feel down. I don't feel drained. I don't feel hurt. I don't want to feel abused. Listen. We got to evaluate those relationships. And next week, we're going to talk about evaluating the relationships and how to evaluate the relationships, how to make sure that our, energies are right. Energy is so important, guys. How many of you like the beginning of the call? How much energy? Listen, I was vibing. I could listen to that song all day, every day. Right? And next week, we are going to talk about why it's important for you not to allow what people say about you to affect you. What people say about you to stop you from your journey, what people say about you to stop you from the vision that God gave you of your life. Don't allow words, other people's words, to stop you from loving yourself and knowing who you are and who you're called to be. I want to stamp out today, from today, we're going to stamp out that who, me? Yes, you are called. You are blessed. You are highly favored. You are called for nations and generations. You were called to lead a nation. You were called to help the people of your generation understand wealth, understand empowerment. You were called to be the first one in your family lineage to be married and have a successful marriage. You're called to be that mom. You're called to be that dad. You're called to be that person that inspires. You're called to be that person who is lifting others up. You're called to be that talented individual, the talent on the inside of you. You're called to be wealthy. You're called to be rich. You're called to be blessed. You're called to be creative. You're called. Why? Because you're becoming. And when we get to a place where we understand that, we don't need nobody else to pep us up. We give ourselves a pep talk. You gotta give yourself a pep talk, ladies and gents. When we wake up in the morning and we say, I'm having a good relationship with myself. I know who I'm called to be. I know I have purpose. I may not be perfect, but I'm becoming. I may not be, where I want to be, but I know that I'm not where I used to be. I know that there's purpose over my life. I know there's vision. And when there's vision, he gives the provision. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about finances, resources. I don't have to worry about my health. I don't have to worry about who likes me. I don't have to worry about the relationships. I don't have to worry about who said and who said. The reason why I don't have to worry, because I know who is in me, who is in me, who is in me, who's called me. It's far greater than anything of the world outside. Why? Because I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. And so I want to give us this encouragement as we move forward into this week, guys. It is Decision December. Decide this week. Decide this week to know that you are called. Decide this week to love yourself. Decide this week to become all that you have been, created to become. Decide this week to protect your ear gates, to expose your senses to the things, to the people, to the environment that is going to be a seed to grow into the harvest that you know that you deserve. Decision December is alive. And I can't wait to next week, because we're about to drop part 2 of this session. If you have been blessed by this, go ahead and just tag me in on Instagram. Let me know your best bit, put a quotation. I love you all. Hey, Pam, lovely to have you on. It's a pleasure. Same link, same time, okay? Share this with a friend for next week, and I will see you all very, very soon. Let's get it.